The air in the beach house felt different, heavier, darker. Jide stood frozen, staring at Ada's lifeless body on the bed. Her white, unblinking eyes seemed to look straight into his soul. His hands trembled. What have I done? The room was eerily silent, except for the crashing waves outside. Then, as if on cue, his phone vibrated. It was Obio. Jide swallowed hard before answering. It's done, he whispered, his voice hoarse. Obio chuckled. Good. Now, take her blood and bring it to me before dawn. Jide felt sick. Killing Ada was already haunting him, but now, this. Do you want wealth or not? Obio's voice was sharp. Jide's jaw clenched. He had come too far to back out now. With shaking hands, he grabbed a sharp knife from his bag and cut Ada's palm. Thick, dark blood oozed out, dripping into a small calabash. The moment the first drop hit the bowl, the candles in the room flickered violently. The air turned ice cold. And then, Ada's corpse twitched. Jide jumped back, his heart hammering. For a split second, her lips moved. A faint, choking whisper escaped. Jide, why? Jide let out a terrified scream, grabbed the calabash, and ran out of the room, not daring to look back. The ritual begins. An hour later, Jide arrived at Obio's shrine deep inside the forest. A red moon hung in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the scene. Obio, dressed in a black robe, stood in the center of a large ritual circle. 5 other men, also Yahoo Boys, stood behind him, their faces grim. Jide handed Obio the blood-filled calabash. Obio's smile widened. You have done well. He turned to the large black pot in the center of the shrine, where a fire burned beneath it. He poured Ada's blood inside. A thick, unnatural smoke rose, filling the air with a suffocating stench. The fire roared higher, turning a deep shade of blue. The spirits had accepted the offering. Obio lifted his hands. The wealth you seek is now yours, Jide. Jide's breath quickened. His entire body tingled. He could feel something entering him, filling his veins with raw energy. Then, suddenly, gold coins started falling from the sky. The other Yahoo Boys clapped and cheered. Odegu. Big boy. Jide dropped to his knees, overwhelmed. It had worked. He was now a true billionaire. Or so he thought. The signs of doom. Over the next few days, Jide's wealth exploded. Money poured into his accounts faster than he could spend it. He bought more luxury cars, threw wild parties, and traveled around the world. Everyone envied him. But Jide wasn't at peace. It started with the nightmares. Every night, he saw Ada. She stood in the darkness, staring at him with lifeless eyes, whispering his name. Jide, why did you do this to me? He would wake up drenched in sweat, gasping for breath. Then, the shadows came. He would be alone in his mansion, but he could feel something watching him. Dark figures lurked in the corners of his rooms, disappearing when he turned. At first, he thought it was paranoia. But one night, while checking himself in the mirror, he saw something that froze his blood. Ada was standing right behind him. Jide screamed, spinning around. Nothing. But when he looked back in the mirror, she was still there. Her lips parted, and she whispered, "Your time is near. The beginning of the end." Jide refused to sleep after that. He drank, smoked, partied, anything to drown out the whispers. But the spirits weren't done with him. On the 7th night after the ritual, everything changed. Jide was at a club, surrounded by women and fellow Yahoo Boys, when his body suddenly stiffened. His vision blurred. The loud music faded. Then, he saw her. Ada. She stood in the middle of the club, dressed in the same clothes she had died in, her eyes full of rage. The spirits had come for him. Jide staggered back, knocking over bottles. No. No. Leave me alone. People around him looked confused. Baba, wetin happen? But Jide wasn't listening. He ran. Out of the club, into the streets, his breath coming in short gasps. Ada was following him. Floating. Smiling. And then, he tripped. Fell hard. As he hit the ground, his ears rang with her final words. You will never escape. And deep inside, Jide knew. His time was almost up.